5 silent moves that make women regret disrespecting you. Old Stoic wisdom. He who is brave is free. Seneca. When a woman disrespects you, she's taking a gamble. She believes you'll always be there, waiting for her call, continuing to revolve around her life like nothing ever happened. In her eyes, you're too emotionally entangled, too invested, and too fearful of losing her to walk away. That's why crossing boundaries feels so safe for her. But here's the reality. A man who knows his worth never fights for a place at a table where he's not valued. He doesn't beg for respect or a seat. Instead, he flips the table. No warnings, no requests for permission, no handing over the closure she thinks she deserves. Instead of chasing apologies or second chances, he pours every ounce of his energy into becoming the kind of man who is simply out of reach. This isn't a game of manipulation or trying to trigger jealousy. This is about embracing the Stoic principle of self-mastery. You control your thoughts, you control your actions, you control nothing else. The moment you realize you don't need to explain, negotiate, or justify your standards, you stop reacting to disrespect and start constructing a life where respect is the foundation. That's the core of today's message. I'll share with you 5 silent actions that will make women regret ever disrespecting you. These are not actions that involve shouting, begging, or proving anything. They don't just shift the power dynamic, they remove her from the equation entirely once you master them. You're no longer a man scrambling to regain respect from one woman. You become a man who commands respect from everyone, everywhere. The beauty of it is this: you don't need her validation for it to work. This transformation is for you, the peace is for you, and the discipline is for you. So stay with me as I walk you through these powerful steps. Before we dive in, I'd like to ask, have you ever stayed too long in a relationship where you weren't respected? Share your thoughts in the comments below, like if this resonates with you, and subscribe to the Stoic Spirit for more lessons that make you unshakable. Number 1. Cut off access without warning. When a woman disrespects you, violates your boundaries, or crosses the line, any man with an ounce of self-respect knows exactly what to do. You don't make a scene. You don't lecture her, detailing every wrong she's committed like you're presenting evidence in court. You don't waste your energy trying to convince her of your worth. That's the rookie mistake, the path of desperation. You see, the moment she disrespects you, she has already made up her mind about your value, and the last thing you want to do is argue with that decision. By pleading, explaining, or defending your honor, all you're doing is reinforcing her belief that you're willing to fight for scraps in a world where you no longer belong. You become a man scrambling for a place at her table, even after she's shown you through her actions that she no longer values you. What you must do instead is simple. Act decisively. Remove yourself completely from her orbit. No grand speeches, no "I'm done with you" declarations, no "this is the last straw" diatribes. You simply vanish. Without an explanation, without a fight, without any hint of a drama-filled exit. This isn't a tantrum or some manipulative move, but rather a calculated shift in the way you engage with her. You're recalibrating the privilege she once had to your time, your presence, your attention, your energy. That privilege is not something to be taken lightly. Here's the power of this move. Up until now, she's been operating under a single assumption: no matter what she does, no matter how she disrespects you, you'll always be there. You'll pick up the phone when she calls. You'll answer her texts. You'll show up when she needs you. You've been her safety net, a comfort she hasn't earned. But when you cut that safety net without warning, without explanation, she's thrown into a void, a place she never expected. And in that vacuum, she's forced to confront herself. The silence that replaces your presence will force her to rewind and replay every moment, every conversation. When did he stop being there? When did he change? When did I lose him? That confusion, the kind that arrives unannounced, is where regret starts to take root. It's not about words. It's not about the speech you never gave. It's not about yelling. It's about the absence, the cold, unrelenting absence of you, This is where most men falter. They announce their departure as if they're putting on a show. They shout about their boundaries, their rights, their frustrations. They storm off, leaving a trail of dramatic statements. "You'll regret this. I'm done." And in doing so, they hand her something valuable, your emotional energy. By announcing your exit, you're still giving her the power to affect you. You're still allowing her to feel your presence, even in your absence. But the real power is in leaving without a trace. You vanish without a word. There's no raised voice, no hostile messages, no drama, just silence. And in that silence, the weight of your absence will slowly begin to settle on her. She'll feel the void you left behind, the one she thought would always be filled. This is the crucial element that makes the cutoff so effective. It must be complete. You can't do this halfway. You don't block her number, but continue lurking on her social media. You don't unfollow her, but still watch her stories in secret. You don't leave a breadcrumb trail of communication just in case. Every inch of contact is another string she can pull to keep you tied to her orbit. So the cut must be total. This means deleting her number, muting or blocking her on every platform, avoiding any form of acknowledgement in group settings, and most importantly, do all of this without a single word. No declarations, no showing off, no "I'm cutting you off" message. You simply disappear. The man who truly cuts off access is not seeking a reaction. He's not putting on a show. He's enforcing a simple Stoic principle. Disrespect has consequences, and those consequences are non-negotiable. The price of disrespect is losing him. And here's the beauty of it. You don't need to make her feel bad with words. You don't need to craft the perfect speech about how wrong she was. The absence of your attention, the absence of your presence, speaks louder than anything you could ever say. It's heavier than any insult. It's colder than any criticism. And most importantly, it's impossible to ignore. This is the foundation of Old Stoic wisdom, the iron mind that is impervious to emotional manipulation and swayed by nothing. In moments of disrespect, the Stoic principles teach us that we are to remove ourselves without drama or explanations. And when you do this, it's not only a reflection of your own strength, but also a lesson to her. Disrespect is not something you tolerate, and it will cost her dearly if she ever crosses that line again. In the end, remember this. When you cut off access, you're not just punishing her. You are setting a boundary for yourself. You are showing her, and more importantly, showing yourself that you value your own dignity above everything else. So be ruthless in enforcing that boundary. Don't settle for anything less than full, absolute respect, because you deserve nothing less. Number 2, level up quietly. When you walk away from a woman who has disrespected you, you face a trap. Most men fall into it without realizing. The trap? Sitting in your room, stewing in anger, replaying conversations in your mind, hoping that somehow, by revisiting the past, you can change it. You waste your nights imagining alternate realities, hoping that your anger will lead to closure. But here's the kicker. That's exactly what she expects of you. She expects you to stay trapped in the past. She expects you to overthink, to talk to your friends about it, to stalk her on social media, hoping for some kind of satisfaction. While you stay frozen in time, she moves forward, assuming the story ended where she left you. But the man who flips the script knows a simple truth. Your story is not hers to write. He knows that the most devastating kind of closure isn't about words, explanations, or grand speeches. It's transformation. It's about becoming so far ahead in life that when she hears your name again, she doesn't recognize the man you've become, the key. This transformation must be quiet. You don't need to announce every step. You don't need to post about every workout, every change. You don't need to broadcast your moves to prove anything. When you do that, you lose the essence of true growth. Real progress doesn't demand applause. It speaks for itself in the silence of your actions. Silence is your camouflage. You see, silence is your greatest ally. It shields you, allowing you to grow without interference, without distractions. It prevents her from knowing what you're building, leaving her in the dark. And when months pass and you step back into the world transformed, the gap between the man she thought you were and the man you've become is so wide, so undeniable, that it shocks her into rethinking every assumption she ever had about you. But here's the critical point. This upgrade must be more than skin deep. It can't just be about your body, your bank account, or your looks. No, this transformation must be full spectrum. You must level up in every area of your life: your health, your finances, your mindset, your presence, and yes, your appearance. If you only change one thing, she can dismiss it as luck, a fluke, a momentary trick. But when everything changes, when you evolve into someone she can't even recognize, the reality is undeniable. And even if her pride won't allow her to admit it out loud, deep down, she knows she underestimated you. That's the beauty of leveling up. It's not about winning her back or making her beg for your attention. It's about becoming the kind of man who will never, ever attract that kind of disrespect again. The man who upgrades his entire life. This man isn't chasing anyone. He's building something far greater, himself. He's crafting a life and identity that demands respect from anyone, not just from the woman who wronged him. This kind of transformation requires discipline, a discipline most men will never touch. It demands that you replace the habits that kept you stagnant with those that propel you forward. You must wake up earlier than you want. You must lift heavier weights than you thought possible. You must push past mental barriers that once held you back. It's about rejecting distractions, eliminating the things that once controlled you. When you start living this way, not as a temporary project, not as a short-term goal, but as a permanent, unshakable lifestyle, everything changes. You won't need to speak to her. You won't need to explain anything. Your actions will reflect a standard she can never match. Your results will do the talking, the silent power of transformation. That is the essence of Stoic rules and practical Stoicism. It's about silent growth, a growth so profound that when you step into the world again, your presence alone commands respect. She may feel regret, but not because she simply lost you. She'll feel it because she misjudged you, the man who was always destined to rise. And here's the best part. You didn't need her to recognize that. You never needed her validation to rise. The only thing you ever needed was the discipline to disappear and come back stronger than anyone ever thought possible. Men who level up quietly do so not because they're waiting for her to notice. They do it because they realize the best revenge is not revenge at all. The best revenge is indifference. It's the ability to live in a way where her opinion holds no weight. And ironically, that's what will make her notice. When she sees that her disrespect didn't break you, that it became the fuel to build a stronger, more powerful version of you, it changes everything. The dynamic shifts, the balance of power tilts, and in that moment, she knows what you understood from day one. You never needed her approval to win. You never needed her recognition to rise. A lifestyle of unshakable discipline. You must remember this. Leveling up isn't about revenge. It's not about showing her you're better. It's about becoming a version of yourself that no one, least of all her, can ever disrespect again. This is the path of wisdom, the path of silent power. It's a lifestyle rooted in discipline, growth, and the quiet but undeniable truth that you are far more than anyone ever thought you were. And that is what real transformation looks like. That is the essence of practical Stoicism. This is the journey you must embark on if you want to become a man who is not only respected by the woman who disrespected you, but by the world at large. Because once you've leveled up quietly, no one can ever take that away from you. Your life will speak for itself, and when she sees what you've become, it will be too late. The man she disrespected is now a force of nature, untouchable and unstoppable. That is the quiet power you must wield. If you found this valuable, don't forget to like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Make sure to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I am a man of quiet strength and relentless growth. This affirmation is all about embracing the power of silent transformation and growth. Drop that in the comments to show your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. Number 3, stop explaining yourself. There comes a pivotal moment in every man's life when he discovers a powerful truth. The more you explain yourself, the more power you lose. At first, it seems harmless. You want clarity, you want understanding, and you want the woman in your life to see your heart. But the truth is stark. Each time you explain yourself, your choices, or your standards to someone who has already shown disrespect for you, you're not clarifying anything. You're negotiating your worth. And that, my friend, is a fatal mistake. Once you explain, you give them the authority to approve or disapprove of your life. You've already lost the leverage. This is the trap that ensnares most men. When a woman disrespects you, your words become her playground. She twists the narrative, downplays her behavior, and makes you question if you're overreacting. She may even coax you into lowering your standards just to keep access to you, all while making no changes on her end. That's the danger. The man who knows his value does not justify his actions. He understands that a man with direction doesn't need anyone's permission to walk his path. He doesn't need applause to take the next step. Understand this. When you walk away, when you stop calling, when you shift your energy elsewhere, she'll try to reel you back into a conversation. It starts with something like, "I just want to understand." But it's rarely about understanding. It's about control. She wants you back in her frame, where your decisions depend on her approval. Most men falter here. They believe that if they just explain themselves clearly enough, she will finally see the truth. But that's where they go wrong. She doesn't need to understand, you need her to feel it. And feelings? They're delivered through action, not words. The danger in explaining yourself is that it ties you emotionally to her approval. It puts her opinion above your direction. And the longer you live like that, the further you drift from your own authority. So, what do you do instead? When she asks why you're distant, why you stopped calling, why you haven't responded, you don't send a lengthy explanation of her disrespect. You don't defend your boundaries. You don't beg her to understand. You simply say, "I've been focused on my own path," and leave it at that. No speeches, no justifications, no open doors for her to argue. Because a man who knows his path understands this. The wrong people don't need the map. This principle applies to every relationship in your life, not just women. When a friend questions your new routine, when a family member doubts your business, when a colleague asks why you're not hanging out after work, you resist the urge to justify. Let your results do the talking. Let your progress be your answer. Because here's the truth. If someone respects you, they won't demand an explanation. And if they don't respect you, no amount of explaining will change their mind. In relationships, this is even more crucial. Women are not attracted to men who explain themselves into the ground. They are drawn to men who move with certainty, men who trust their own judgment more than they care about external validation. The irony is this: the less you explain, the more respect you command, even from those who once dismissed you. Now they see that you're not a man who can be bent by pressure, guilt, or excuses. You are immovable. And for the woman who disrespected you, your silence speaks louder than any speech. It shows you're not even angry. You've simply removed her from the conversation that is your life. She is no longer relevant. That calm detachment carries more power than all the words in the world. It tells her that you don't need her approval, understanding, or validation. You've moved past that stage. When you live like this consistently, you stop seeking approval from the wrong people. You start building a life that doesn't require defense, only demonstration. And that's when your power comes rushing back. You realize how much strength you've given away in the past, trying to explain, trying to prove, trying to make someone see your side. And you vow never to surrender that power again. The man who moves without explanation is already free. He's not seeking permission. He's not waiting for applause. He's not begging anyone to see his worth. He simply knows his time is too valuable to be spent on convincing people who never truly valued it. When you embody that mindset, your silence becomes your greatest weapon, not a silence born from weakness, but from strength. It is the silence of a man who no longer negotiates his worth because he knows it. As Epictetus, The ancient Stoic philosopher once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. The man who knows his worth lives this truth. His path is his own, and the world can't bend him because he doesn't seek its approval." This is Stoicism in action. This is what it means to truly win. To control your destiny without seeking anyone's permission. So, the next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, remember, silence is strength. The less you explain, the more you win. Number 4. Redirect energy to a better circle. When a woman disrespects you and you walk away, it might feel like a victory. And in some ways, it is. You've freed yourself from a toxic cycle. You've stepped away from the constant need for validation, for scraping by with the bare minimum, for living in a situation that undervalues your worth. But let's be clear, walking away is only the beginning. It's not the final destination, but the launching pad. The real work starts after you leave, and that's where most men slip up. Far too many men make the mistake of thinking that leaving a bad relationship is synonymous with transformation. They break free from the chains of disrespect, but instead of moving towards self-improvement, they fall into an empty void. Without a higher purpose, without more demanding standards, without a stronger, more challenging environment to grow in, they are left to fill the space with nothing, leaving the door wide open for mediocrity to creep back in. Life doesn't tolerate a vacuum. If you don't consciously redirect your energy into a higher circle, it'll drag you back into old habits, and worse, you'll attract another distraction, another mediocre circle, or another woman who mirrors the same disrespect but wears a different face. This is why the concept of redirecting your energy to a better circle is not just important, it's essential. It's part of the Old Stoic wisdom, the iron mind that teaches us how to take control and shape our reality rather than let it shape us. Your environment holds more power over you than you want to admit. Sure, you can have discipline. You can have ambition. You can spout off about values and respect. But if you're surrounded by people who are okay with the status quo, who accept mediocrity, your willpower will crumble under the weight of it all. Think about it. If your friends, your colleagues, or the people closest to you are all caught up in small talk, distractions, and a life of tolerating good enough, you'll find it increasingly difficult to rise above it. The gravity of their mindset will drag you back down. This is the trap many men fall into. They cut ties with the woman who disrespected them, but they don't sever the ties with the very culture that allowed that disrespect to happen in the first place. And that's why many men end up crawling back, not because they miss her, but because they miss the comfort zone, the familiarity. It's not the woman they long for, it's the easy, predictable pattern that they never replaced with something better. This is where the real work lies. Cutting her off is step 1. Step 2 is building a new reality for yourself, a reality where you're surrounded by a circle that values accountability, growth, and ambition. This doesn't mean you need a group of people to vent to share your complaints. No, you need to find a space where you're forced to evolve, where your excuses sound ridiculous, where your small thinking is exposed. A circle where you can't help but level up, where your wins are celebrated, but your comfort zone is constantly under attack. This is what it means to embrace Stoic principles in real life. When you step into these higher circles, everything changes. No longer will you waste your energy wondering if she's thinking about you. No longer will you replay the same tired scenarios in your head. Instead, your mind will be occupied with conquering new goals, smashing through business targets, crushing your fitness milestones, or mastering a new skill that sharpens your mind and body. And here's where it gets powerful. People will notice. Your energy will shift, and the woman you left behind will feel it too. She'll see you thriving in a world that she no longer has access to. She'll see that you didn't just leave her. You left behind an entire reality that she's still stuck in, one that you no longer care about. You stepped into a world that she can't even enter. And that, my friend, is devastating to her, not because you pointed it out, but because she feels it every time she sees you moving forward without a glance back. This is the essence of Old Stoic wisdom in action. It's not about words, not about showing her how much you've grown. It's about creating a life so powerful that her opinion becomes irrelevant. When she sees you surrounded by people who mirror the respect you've cultivated for yourself, when she sees that the energy you used to waste on proving your worth to her is now multiplied in spaces that elevate you, that's when the regret sets in. It's not about the absence of you, it's about the presence of something she'll never have, a man who built a life so strong that she doesn't even exist in it. So, take a hard look at your circle, audit it, cut the dead weight, rid yourself of people who normalize mediocrity, who drain your energy, who live only for temporary pleasures. Seek out new environments that challenge you, even if they make you uncomfortable, because growth only happens outside of your comfort zone. Invest in these new relationships the way you used to invest in chasing validation. Redirect the energy you used to waste trying to prove yourself to someone who disrespected you and pour it into the spaces and people that elevate you. Over time, something incredible happens. You stop thinking about proving anything to her. You stop replaying the past, stop asking yourself what you should have said. The life you're building becomes so full that there's no room for her memory, her influence, or her opinion. That's when the regret becomes permanent, not because you reminded her of your worth, but because she sees it every time you walk into a room, surrounded by a circle that reflects your growth, your value, and your evolution. This is the Stoic way forward. Redirect your energy. Stop pouring it into broken places. Build a circle that forces you to rise and watch as the memories of her fade into oblivion, not because you erase them, but because the man you've become no longer has space for them. If you're ready to leave behind the past and build a life so powerful that the woman who disrespected you fades into irrelevance, drop a comment right now. I am focused on building my next level. Like this video, subscribe for more wisdom, and remember, true transformation begins when you redirect your energy to a higher circle. Number 5. Show zero emotional recoil. When someone disrespects you, especially someone who once treated you like you mattered, someone who smiled at your presence, laughed at your humor, and leaned into your energy, the instinct is to fire back. Your chest tightens, your jaw hardens, and your words become razor sharp, laced with the weight of your anger. It feels natural to want her to see the damage she caused, to reveal the scar she left on your pride. But here's where you need to step up. Don't react. Sure, part of you believes that if she sees you upset, she'll finally understand. If she notices the pain in your tone, maybe she'll recognize the depth of her betrayal. But let me break it to you straight. Showing that emotional spike won't make her respect you more. It will make her feel powerful. Your reaction is like giving her a leash she can yank at will to see how far she can pull you. The more emotional you get, the more you signal that she still holds control. Your emotional recoil becomes her victory. And here's the truth you need to grasp. If she can still pull at your emotions, she still owns a piece of you. That's the hook. That's the leash. That's the quiet, insidious victory she holds over you. The Stoic rules of emotional control don't say, ignore the feeling. They don't say, pretend it doesn't matter. What they say is this: your true power lies in refusing to let her have the satisfaction of knowing she controls your state of mind. The power lies in mastering your reaction, not in pretending indifference. It's about embracing the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, who said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Be untouchable. The ability to master this emotional detachment isn't easy, but it is a marker of strength. It demands that you separate feeling from reaction. You must disconnect the storm inside from the calm exterior. Instead of responding to disrespect with fire, respond with stillness. Not coldness, not apathy, composure. This is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of absolute, unwavering control. You must become untouchable. That is the key. When you operate at this level, you rise above the drama. And here's the kicker. People who thrive on chaos go absolutely crazy when you don't react. They need your reaction like they need air to breathe. They survive by drawing you into their storm, bidding you to break character. The moment you don't bite, the moment you don't give them the reaction they crave, you send the loudest message. Don't break. Don't raise your voice. Don't throw petty insults. Don't even shift your expression. Instead, you send the message, you have no control here. The woman who once disrespected you, she's now facing an uncomfortable realization. Regret will creep in. When she realizes she can't even provoke you, the power dynamics shift dramatically. She knows she no longer holds influence over your mind. And that realization, my friend, is far more powerful than any angry words could ever be. Here's the lesson. Mastering the ability to show zero emotional recoil extends far beyond just relationships. It's a principle that applies everywhere. In business negotiations, when competitors try to rattle you, you stay composed. In family disputes, where old wounds can be weaponized, you remain calm. In social dynamics, where manipulation often hides behind emotional games, you stay above it all. The less you react, the more control you have. People can't play chess with someone who won't move their pieces out of impulse. They can't bait a man who doesn't pick up the hook. So, how do you cultivate this level of control? You slow things down. You pause. You breathe. You practice the pause. You train yourself to choose your response, not just fall into it. Instead of asking yourself, how do I feel right now? Ask yourself, what outcome do I want right now? That shift in perspective rewires your entire approach to conflict. Suddenly, your energy isn't dictated by someone else's disrespect. It's guided by your own standards, your own mission, your own vision. When this becomes your default mode of operation, something remarkable happens. Your power compounds. People realize they can't rattle you. They stop trying to provoke you because they understand there's nothing to gain. For the woman who once disrespected you, this realization will cut deepest. She sees that you didn't just walk away. You walked away without leaving her anything. No angry texts, no bitter insults, no look of betrayal to replay in her mind. You exited without giving her the smallest emotional thread to cling to. That is the essence of showing zero emotional recoil. It's not a trick. It's not about playing games. It's about becoming a man who is so rooted in his own self-control, so anchored in his values, that no disrespect has the power to shake his foundation. And when you reach that level, you discover something liberating. People lose their grip on you. Chaos loses its hold. And here, at the intersection of discipline and wisdom, you gain the one thing every Stoic sought: freedom. Once you've learned to show zero emotional recoil, you'll notice the shift. Life will continue to test you with the same disrespect, but you will now be untouchable. You will carve out a boundary so sharp, so strong, that no one will dare cross it. And this is where strength is forged, not in endless explanations, not in begging to be understood, but in silence, discipline, and unshakable standards. That is the path of wisdom. When you stop entertaining games, you step into a power that can't be stolen. You become the man she remembers long after you've gone silent. You become the man who walked away, not in weakness, but in mastery of himself. Real strength is not loud. It's consistent. It doesn't seek validation. It creates distance where respect is absent. That is what makes you unforgettable. So, next time life tests you with disrespect, remember this. It's not about reacting. It's about mastering yourself. Be still. Be calm. Show zero emotional recoil. And watch as the world starts to respect you, not for what you say, but for what you won't tolerate. This is practical stoicism at its finest.